Okay, so check it out, folks. Right now, we're coming down to the final stretch of 2022. And I'm going to ask you something. How do you feel right now? Are you happy with 2022? Are you not happy? Are you nervous? Are you embracing with just vigor and love in this economic winter? I love it so much. The colder it gets, the better it gets. I'm so excited. We want to give that to you. We want to share that with you. And today, me and my partner, Ed Gartner, are going to discuss why your 401k may actually be garbage. What's up, Eddie?
What's up, Rob?
How you doing, brother?
I'm awesome. You?
It's always great when we get to sit here and provide as much education as we can. We don't, when we talk about why your 401k may be garbage, let's be real clear about that. I think you and I are fans of people that save.
Yes.
And we think if you're not saving and if you're saving in a 401k, then you're better off.
Absolutely.
Than not saving.
You're doing something.
Yes, that's a beautiful thing. And if you're going to insist on saving in a 401k, you want to make sure that the fees are all stripped out, that you understand that it gets taxed at ordinary income later on in life.
Yep. That,
when the market goes up and down, if it's involved in the market, it's going to go up and down. And whatever you get a tax, not write-off on, but a tax, postponement on, you're going to give that back later on in life.
Yeah.
So we're not making fun of people that think the 401k is great, but if they think it's tax-free, if they think it's a guarantee, if they think that when it's not going to be exposed to the stock market going up and down, that mindset could have been delivered by a guy or a gal with a $6,000 suit on. I don't have a $6,000 suit on, but at the end of the day, the question really becomes from a 401k standpoint, how do you feel about that?
I think people looking at their 401k statements today are probably a little disappointed, right? They've been contributing all year, but if they look at their account balance today versus what it was last year, they're down significantly, right? Most people, the broader market at some point this year was down around 30%. Right now it might be 15% or so a little comeback. But think about those numbers if you're in retirement. Right? Imagine you get to retirement, people hit that $1 million mark, they think that's where they need to be for retirement, and their thought process is, oh, you know what? I'll live off of 10%, right? Because that's what I've gotten thus far. But now the market drops and it drops off to 30%. Your $1 million just turned into 700,000. Then that 700,000 you were planning on pulling 100 grand off to live on. Now you have $600,000. Imagine the amount of return that you have to get just to get back to $1 million. And furthermore, how nervous are these people that are retired right now because they've had to draw out of this bucket, which for the last, 10, 11 years, they haven't even seen move.
Yeah. So guys, gals, everything you just heard, stop and kind of go back and start taking notes. But let me just kind of, maybe clarify and verify what I thought I heard you say, so we could just kind of bring it to the masses so they understand that, first of all, money's not math. It's a commodity.
Yes.
We know that 4 + 4 = 8, but 4 × 4 is 16, and 4 × 4 is really what the bank does, and that means they velocitize money. They loan money out over and over again, and they don't take any financial risk. They take credit risk. And when they take credit risk, it's really if you're going to pay back the money or not, but they're always holding something into collateral as a result of that. With that being said, though, Eddie touched on a lot of different things, right? And I think that, listen, I could be disruptive right now and create some different words on the algorithm and say that you're real dumb for putting money into I don't think that. Like, I don't think anyone's dumb for putting money into a 401k. Just like I don't think anyone should sell out of a 401k just to go buy something unless they truly, really look at it. If I have $100,000 in a 401k and I'm under 50 and I cash it in because I want to go buy an investment somewhere else, let me be clear. That $100,000 401k, if I cash it in, it's going to be worth, after taxes and penalties, $65,000. Maybe 60.
Right.
If that 60 bought a piece of real estate, and that real estate was, say, $300,000, it may produce a cash flow after everything else of $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year. If that $100,000 401k averaged 12%, it'd be worth $112,000. But now that 60, which is tied into the growth of the house that you would see later on. But you have to realize, if you're going to cash in a 401k to control your own destiny, which I believe in, controlling your own destiny, not cashing in a 401k to do it, make sure you have a long-term viewpoint of 20, if not 30 years on that money move that you would do with an existing 401k. I can't be more clear about that. Take that and rewind it back. Take it and rewind it back. So stay with me. So now We believe in diversifying within and amongst asset classes. We believe at understanding the advantages and disadvantages of all the financial products that are out there today. We believe in creating models, methodologies, and systems that sit and fit with your core values, not Joey and Mary's, but yours. But before all that, we believe in mindset.
Yes.
Right? Money's not about pieces of paper or Benjamins. It's about how you feel because of money, what money makes you feel like.
Yeah.
And my first wave of money, because I was chasing it, I got it.
Yep.
It didn't. I didn't feel the way I thought I was going to feel. I bought a boxing promotional company, a 7-bedroom house, and a Mercedes Benz. Right?
How'd the boxing promotional do?
Worst investment ever.
Worst.
Boxing promotional company, worst investment ever. No offense. I love the people I did it with, but didn't work out too well. House, basically, I bought at the top of the market. It was in 08, 09.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So it went down, then it came back up. But real estate for the long term is a beautiful thing. We know that.
Yeah. And the Mercedes?
And the Mercedes, at the time, I bought it for, no. This is so I could go see clients. That's why I was doing it, so I could show up not in a Hyundai, but I was showing up in a Mercedes, but it was my ego and my diamond necklace, my diamond cross necklace. That was about $20,000. All ego. And I didn't feel good about any of it. And by the way, anyone that follows me knows that I haven't had a drink since 1996. I wasn't drinking at all during this. It was all straight up ego, right? So it gave me the feeling of I'm going to show them. And at the end of the day, it didn't feel right. And it wasn't until that moment and during that experience that I was like, okay, manifestation and mindset works, right? But you got to be careful what you wish for. What does it have to do with a 401k? Well, it has everything to do with a 401k. So when you make money decisions and you understand your not only your time freedom and your money time freedom, but then how can you control that back into your world where it belongs? And that's where I think when you're talking about, hey, if it was $100,000 last year or $1 million last year, and now it's 700 this year. Yeah. So that means it was down what, 30%?
30%.
If you gain 30% from 700,000, that means it's worth 910, not $1 million. Yeah. So you lost 30. When you gain 30, you're not a break. You're still below. Yes. Like 9 percentage points. Yeah. So it's going to take you a couple of years to get back to that break-even point. But if you were 60, now you're 63, and you want to live on $100,000 of income, you're not getting taxed at 5 or 10%, and money is worth less each year because of inflation.
Yeah. Yeah, and inflation's more than ever, right? So, I mean, you touched on a lot of points there. I think what it comes down to is like we always talk about, understanding what you're doing, right? And why you're doing it. So the people that are saying, hey, go cash out that 401k, well, what is the implication of that? Because when people, some of their concerns are, hey, I pay too much in taxes, right? Yeah. Or I don't like paying taxes. And then they understand, because we've talked to them about it, that when you cash out that 401k that's worth $100,000, it's as if you earned $100,000 more in this year.
Slow it down and say it back.
Right. So when you cash out that 401k under 59.5, you're paying a 10% penalty, but it's also as if you received all of that money as income. So if you made $100,000 and you cashed out $100,000 401k, now it's as if you earned $200,000, and that's what you're paying taxes on in that year.
Eddie's breaking it down. And by the way, once that money is gone, because remember, I always say invest in the real estate between your ears. Yeah. Right? Programs are good to buy, but if you're going to go buy a program, you got to make sure you implement it. You can't just go there and, like, I went to Tony Robbins in 2017. I spent like $3 or $4 grand. Yep. And I was like, that's it. I'm here. It's all going to happen.
It's over.
I didn't realize I had to do work after that. You know what I mean? Like, and it was a lot of work. So I think that, first of all, buying something that you're paying attention to online is better than not paying attention at all. Yes. But if you're going to buy it, put in the action steps. And we always talk about who's your top 5. Yeah. Well, who's your top 5 when it comes to your money time? Who's your top 5 where all your financial professionals got to be on the same page for the benefit of your thinking? Remember, they work for you. You don't work for them. So if you ever have a financial person in your world that gets annoyed every time you call them, hang up, fire them, because they don't write you a check. You write them a check. So if they get mad that you're calling them, even if you're insecure, if you're expecting them to say something that like I was just on the phone with somebody, and the person said to me, thank you for the referral, because it was an attorney. Do you think they're going to get the job done? Because this is what they were saying. I kind of felt like it might not get done. And I said, well, no, there's no guarantee. Right. Right? Like the person can't guarantee it to you, nor can I. Right. However, if you have your accountant, your advisor, your fiduciary, your insurance agent, your trust officer, all on the same page for your benefit, that are lined up with your thinking, that you can measure it through the Epic Wealth Builder or a landing page where everybody could see what's happening real time at the click of a button, you're way ahead of about 99% of the people that are out there, because at least every decision you make monetarily is based on logic, math, and science. Logic, math, and science. Logic, math, and science. Logic, math, and science. Not emotional timidity. What's emotional timidity? Nervousness. The neighbor tells me to do this. Joe around the corner tells me to do that. Oh my God, Bitcoin. Let me throw some money in that Bitcoin. Sam Friedman, is that his name? Bankman? What's this guy's name? FTX dude?
Yeah.
You know, this is what I'm talking about, understanding the emotional side versus understanding the logical side, because we do make decisions based on emotion.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But let's go through the logical process first, and then we can get emotional afterwards.
And I think it's seen in the stock market, in Bitcoin, and all those things. The emotion comes in. It's fear and greed that drive that decision making for most people.
Yep.
And so when Bitcoin was at 60,000, people were calling, right? Hey, how come we're not in crypto? How come we're not in crypto? How come we're not? Those calls, we don't get them anymore.
No,
nobody asks about why we're not in Bitcoin.
It's so good right here, 2022. This is like right here. I don't know about where does everybody, and I'm not celebrating, but I am. It's a lot of fun right here, right now.
Yes.
And if you want to learn more about it, definitely go ahead and click that link below. We'd love to sit down, no obligation, take you through the success process, the financial freedom map, and you could sit down and talk to any one of us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Ed, I'm going to keep saying this over and over again, because in our world, no one talks about how important the mindset is when it comes to money first. No one talks about the principles of growth mindset versus scarce mindset, and how to really be able to kind of thrive in economic winter. And what are the questions that you're asking yourself when you get that feeling in your stomach if you're in a commission business and you're not doing as well, or if you own real estate and maybe a couple of renters left and now your real estate's going down and you're refinanced and whatever the case may be. What are some of the things that you're doing out there to kind of shift your thinking and make it the right way? Because whatever you're thinking, I can tell you right now, it's true to you, but it's not true to the real world.
It goes back to all the things that we talked about just before. Who's your five? Who are you surrounded with? Your coaches and mentors in your business, that's going to help feed your mindset.
Yeah.
Things that you're doing for yourself, you may want to get in shape. You may want to get physical. For me, that's helped my mental capacity, because when I'm not feeling good physically, I'm not showing up the way I should at work. Yeah. So some of those things have helped, but that money mindset shift is so important.
Can you imagine if I got in shape?
It'd be the rocket ship's already going.
This ship would flip.
I don't know if we could hold on.
Can you imagine if I got in shape, what would happen? Because at the end of the day, I'm like the dopest 260-pound guy that's out there.
I think
there's no shame in my game.
I think about it sometimes. I'm like, I don't know how he keeps up. Like, how do you maintain that physical energy? Right? Because there's a lot in it.
I was with a mentor this weekend. I'll give him a shout out, Randy Garn, and I'll tell you what he said that was amazing. I was with a couple of mentors, but there was something that Randy said to me that stood out. He says, it's not just the top five, because that's important.
Yes.
And the top five, have to be proven in what they do.
Yes.
Right? But it's also, how do you feel about the top five?
Yeah.
Because if you feel right about 3, 4, or 5 of them, whatever, how do you feel about the top five? And if there's a certain type of static, or if there's a certain type of vibrational energy that's not congruent with your feelings, you have to confront that to yourself first. And really get honest with yourself. And it was a really powerful thing, because I never thought of it that way, because I've been doing videos about who's your top five.
Yeah.
But we talk about distinctions, right? We talk about sensory acuity. Snow means one thing in LA, but it means 12 different things if I'm an Eskimo in Alaska.
Yeah.
So I think that and Sean Callaghy is always talking about distinctions relentlessly. And the distinction is, who's your top five and how do you feel about them?
How do you feel about them?
Who's your top five? And by the way, if you feel a certain way, this way or that way, you really have to evaluate why you feel that way, because you could be off. You might not be off.
You could be off. And whether or not you're off is going to affect how you implement what they're talking about.
But if you're off, why are you off?
Yeah.
What do you do? What is your resistance or what is it that you're not feeling or believing in?
And that's
two different things.
And that's the work you have to continue to do on yourself.
And what does that do with a 401k?
At the end of the day, all of this has to do with, look, as we started this video, the fact is your 401k garbage? Probably not. The fact that you're saving versus not saving is a huge thing. And you really need to just understand what your goals are, where you're trying to get to. If you're really young, saving in a 401k and you want to buy a house down the road, you might want to diversify the places that you're saving.
Yeah, and also go up to the match. I don't know if I get too excited about going past the match, and I'd save past the match in different buckets. And, we are a team here that excel mightily in the space of life insurance. Down the hall, there is a wealth management arm that has a level of fiduciary responsibility, not myself or Ed, of course, not Epic Insurance Services or Epic Financial Strategies, but down the hall there is a fiduciary portion of if people want to kind of play in that game a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we believe that 401k, not past the match, creating an alternative savings that you build up that has leverage, liquidity, and control so you could create your own strategies, maybe finance your own debt. They say become your own bank, maybe buy investments like real estate.
Yeah.
Understanding don't quit your day job, because if you're going to buy real estate and quit your day job, you already went down the wrong path because you're going to get frustrated.
You need income to buy the real estate.
Yes, and you need to go to work every day, right?
Yeah.
And that's why if you're an entrepreneur that's going to work every day, it is important that you have these professionals on the same page that you meet with on a quarterly basis. Because look, we can talk about taxes real fast. Let me tell you something. You could have a tax historian, which is a guy or a gal that's just going to get you that write-off, fail to tell you what's going to happen on the backside. Or you could have a tax specialist. What's a tax specialist? Well, beyond the first 300 pages, we then get in past W-2, we then get into the business owner, and there's maps and strategies on how to get additional write-offs.
Yes.
Right? Then if you're into real estate, you get a cost segregation engineer.
Yeah.
Cost segregation engineer, right? Think about that. Okay, you want to be able to map all that out when it comes to your real estate and the 4 different rates of return that you're going to get there. And last but not least, because remember, these are 4 different quadrants that I'm speaking about, just regarding your accounting division.
Yes.
Right? You need a kick-ass bookkeeper that's going to measure and monitor every single day so you don't overpay in taxes.
Right.
Yeah. So this is what we talk about when it's diversifying within amongst asset classes and having everybody on the same page. Take us out.
And the one thing you said, and we'll leave them with this, right? Everybody wants to know what the rich do. One thing that the rich do is they save, they invest, but they also own businesses.
Yes.
And owning those businesses are huge tax advantages within owning those businesses. So that's where it's really important to have those tax specialists, those people on your side that are doing far more than just looking at what you did and telling you how to get it down. You want people that are planning for the future.
Yep. So go ahead, go if you want to learn more. By the way, if you have any comments, feel free to add comments. If you want us to do other videos in the future, please let us know. We'd love to do that. There's a couple different links, but if you really just want to sit down with us and get a consultation to see where you are, think of it like a financial freedom map. We always know what the destination is, but a lot of people have a hard time really figuring out where they're at, right? So if you can figure out where you are, re-engineering it back for where you want to go and re-engineering it back to where you are today, that's a good conversation to have with us. And thanks for checking us out.